Yeah. So guys, on router number 1, I'm going to configure interface fast Ethernet 0/0 first, say no set, and IP address 10.1.1.1.255.255.255.0. Okay, then exit interface fast Ethernet 1/0/1, another interface, say no set again here, and IP address 12.1.1.1.255.255.255.0. Done. I've configured the IP address. How to verify it? Show IP interface brief. You can run this command, but see, if you will run this command, it will show you the configured and unconfigured both port. So if you want to filter, if you want to see only the configured port, so what you can do, and in real time always try to filter the output. For that you can run show IP interface brief and then exclude unassigned. Exclude unassigned. I'm saying show me the output of show IP interface command, but exclude what? Unassigned interface. So now it will show me only assigned interfaces. Correct? On this interface, if you want to check is there any port number by default enable, means is there any service by default enable. So you can run one command here. So I think control plane. So control plane, then we can say host, and after that we can say open port. Open ports. It will show you that by default if any protocol is enabled on router or not. So let me enter here. See guys, one port number is enabled here, that is 23, and 23 is port number of which protocol? Telnet? No, Telnet. SSH is 22. So as I told you in last class, by default Telnet is enabled on all Cisco routers and switches. Okay. So you can see by default this port is enabled. Except this, there is no any other ports enabled, guys, right? Like if you want to configure DHCP here, right, you have to enable port number what? 68. 68 is port number for DHCP server, and 67. 68 is for DHCP client, right? So here I have configured the IP address and we have checked that Telnet service is by default enabled. Then guys, I am going to take you to router number 2, and on router number 2 also let me configure IP first. Interface F0/0 SINOSET, and IP address is 192.168.10.254.255.255.255.0. Exit interface F0/1, say no set here, and again say IP address 12.1.1.2 255.255.255.0. Done. Again to verify, show IP interface brief, exclude unassigned. See the IP configuration, correct? Now to check connectivity between R1 and R2, what command I will use? Ping. I can use ICMP protocol. Ping is just a utility which is used to check connectivity between two devices. What is ping? Ping is just a utility, or you can say feature, which we can use to check connectivity between two devices. And guys, on R2 also you can see by default only Telnet service is enabled. So if I want to check connectivity between R1 and R2, either I can ping R2 IP address from router number 1, or I can ping R1 IP address from router number 2. So let me ping IP address of R2 from router number 1, ping 12.1.1.2. See, reachability is there, success rate is 80%. One packet has dropped because of again ARP. If you will ping again, this time success rate is 100%. Correct? So connectivity is there between R1 and R2. Now I'm going to configure DHCP server. So to configure DHCP server, first of all, let me configure IP here. Interface F0/0, say no set, and IP address over here is 192.168.10.1 255.255.255.0. Done. I'm going to disable routing here because as I told you this is router, but I am using it as a DHCP server, so I have disabled the routing. Don't worry about this command for now. Then I need to define the default gateway. So what is the default gateway IP address for DHCP server? 254. Correct. Now guys, I need to enable DHCP service here, right? By default you can see show control plane host and open port. Only Telnet is enabled, yes or no?
Yes.
So I need to enable DHCP service here, and so IP interface brief exclude unassign. You can check the IP configuration as well, right? If you want to check the default gateway configuration, you can check running configuration, right? Under the running configuration you can see the entire configuration, whatever configuration we did here, right? By default, one command is you can see running here, that is hostname DHCP. So that's why your hostname is what, DHCP. When you will change the name of your physical device, automatically it will run the command hostname and whatever name you are going to define to the physical device. And if power is on of your physical device, then you cannot change the host name. You are not allowed to change the name of your device. Okay. So by default, it will show you the name of your physical name of your device. Okay. Now guys, to configure DHCP service here, the command that I am going to use is IP DHCP and then pool. This is how we will enable DHCP on Cisco routers, right? Yesterday we seen how we can enable DHCP service on a Windows server, right? And this is how we can configure DHCP service on Cisco router. Then what is the name of your pool? So to create pool, you will run this command IP DHCP pool, and then what is the name of your pool? CCNA. That's it. Hit enter. Then define the network. Network is 10.1.1.0, right? Mask. Network, I think here we can define the mask. Yes, 255.255.255.0. Then guys, default router means default gateway 10.1.1.1. Okay. So for now we are not going to use other options like option field, right? Here we have option of DNS, so we can define the DNS server IP address. DNS is, let's say what, 8.8.8. Now if you want to exclude any IP address, here you can say DHCP IP DHCP exclude address. Like I want to exclude one address, because one IP address, because I have already configured that IP address here, right? So I need to exclude this one. So just to exclude it, you can run this command as IP DHCP exclude address 10.1.1.1. That's it. Now DHCP configuration is done. If you are going to check the open port on this router now, so control plane, so control plane host open port. Now how many services are enabled on this router?
TCP and UDP.
Not TCP and UDP. TCP is the service which Telnet is using, and UDP is the service which DHCP is using, right? But here both services are enabled, Telnet and DHCP. Telnet is by default enabled, and who have enabled this feature? We have enabled it, right? Network engineer have enabled it. DHCP service, right? DHCP is using port number what, 67. This is port number of DHCP. Fine guys.
Yes.
So DHCP configure, yeah.
I want to ask one question that we give a command IP DHCP pool CCNA.
Correct.
If we put the command IP DHCP pool only,
Pool.
can it take the
No. See, this is invalid. Incomplete command. So you have to define the name.
but in switch I think it generally take
No, on switches also you have to configure the name. Without pool name, without creating pool, you cannot set up the DHCP service on Cisco IS. Okay.
okay. One again question that IP DHCP exclude this command we have
As,
IP DHCP exclude
yeah.
excluded address. What is this?
This is what, from this network. This is the network. From this network, DHCP server is going to provide IP address. So if I will talk about the range of IP addresses in this network is what it is. Its IP address will start from 10.1.1.1 and last IP address it will end on 10.1.1.254, right? So DHCP server is going to provide these all IP addresses, right? So it will start providing IP from this, right? It will start providing IP address to client from this range. So it will pick this IP address for first client, but you can see this IP address I am already using in the network, right? So I have to tell to DHCP server, brother, please note, assign or provide this IP address to the client, right? So that's why I'm saying what exclude. Exclude means what? Removing something from the range, right? So here from this range, we are removing one IP address, this IP address. Let's say in my network there is one server, right? HTTP server, and this server IP address is 10.1.1.20. So I have to tell to DHCP server, brother, don't provide this IP address to any client machine, right? So that's why I'm using this command. Any other question? Okay. Now guys, next thing what we need to configure. See, from PC1, if I will try to get IP address from DHCP server, I am able to get or not. So go to interface, fast ethernet 0/0, say no set, and then we can run command simply IP address and then DHCP. This command, IP address DHCP, right? So run interface F 0/0. See here I'm running this command, IP address DHCP, right? And so once I will run this command on the router, what will happen guys? Port number 68 will enabled, yes or no? Because DHCP client is using port number 68. 8 server is using 67, right? So control plane host and then open port. Are you able to see port number 68 here? No, only telnet service is enabled, na? Right? So actually this machine PC1 is not able to discover the DHCP server. Why this machine is not able to discover the DHCP server? See, if I am capturing this link, let me capture this link just to show you something. And see, show IP interface brief. This machine didn't get any IP address, right, from the DHCP server. Only this interface is up, but there's no any IP address. And see, this client machine is still sending what? Discover message, yes or no? First message of DHCP, discover, offer, request and acknowledgement, DORA process, na? It's work on DORA process. So PC is sending the discover message, but still PC is not able to get IP address. The reason is what, guys? What is the reason? See, PC will generate what? Broadcast message, discover message. That discover message is broadcast, because client machine don't know who is DHCP server and client don't have any IP address. So source IP address is going to be 0.0.0. If you will open it, you can see here what is source IP address. 0.0.0. Destination broadcast. Source port number 68, means client is using 68 port number. Destination port number 67. And at layer 2 also you can see source is MAC address of PC1 and destination is broadcast. So as this is a broadcast message, router cannot forward it to router 1 cannot forward it to router number 2. Router 1 is receiving this broadcast message on this interface, but as you know, router cannot forward broadcast message. It will drop it because this is different broadcast domain, this is different broadcast domain. Router separate the broadcast domain, right? So this is the reason why client machine is not able to get IP address from DHCP server. So what is the solution, guys? Please keep your mic on mute, Chandra, if you are not speaking. Yeah.
the helper address.
Yeah, I need to tell to router 1 about the DHCP server, right? That who is DHCP server. So I need to define the helper address. Very good. Good answer. From here I'm getting noise. Okay, now keep yourself on mute, brother, for some time. Okay, now again let me take you to R1. Then go to interface fast Ethernet 0/0, which is your LAN interface, and I'm going to say IP helper address. What is the helper address? IP address of DHCP server 192.168.10.1, right? And capturing is in front of you guys. Is it still sending discover message?
Yes.
Just wait. Now what is the problem? You know what is the problem now? See, so IP route. This router don't have information about the DHCP server, means about this IP address, the helper IP address. There is no any route available in the routing table of this router for 192.168.10.1. You have even tell to router 1 that please forward the DHCP discover message to 192.168.10.1. But who is going to tell to router 1 that what is the exit interface for this network, right? So here I need to tell to router number 1 about the destination network, about this network, right? That, so let me say IP route. I'm saying IP route. There is one route that is 192.168.10.0 whose subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. And whenever you need to forward traffic in this network, please use which exit interface? Fast Ethernet 0/1. Getting my point? What I'm saying? There is one network, this network, and whenever you need to reach in this network, use this interface as exit interface, right? Because if router 1 want to forward traffic to DHCP server, definitely it should forward the traffic from this interface only. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right? So I have told to router number 1 about the destination network. This is fine. But I have to tell to router number 1 as well about which network, guys?
The
About this network.
route. Yes.
So that whenever router will receive traffic where destination is 10.1.1.1, then it can forward to router number 1, right? So let me do one thing. Let me configure one router on router number 2 also. Config T and see the discover message. Discover message router is still sending discover message, right? IP route 10.1.1.0 255.255.255.0 and exit interface is fast Ethernet 0/1. Now from router number 1 I am going to ping. Yeah, I'm going to ping DHCP server, ping 192.168.10.1 to check the connectivity. Is there connectivity between router 1 and server or not? So there is no connectivity. There is no connectivity. Yes, there is connectivity now, 60%, because of I think ARP 2 packet has dropped. So you can see there is connectivity. So now router 1 can forward unicast message to DHCP server. Yes or no? But still this client machine don't have IP address. So something is wrong, guys, in the configuration. Now I have to troubleshoot it. So on router number 1, so IP route, there should be two network. One is 10 network that is directly connected, 12 is also directly connected, okay, and one static route is there, right? For this exit interface is fast Ethernet 0/1. Okay, fine. On router number 2, so IP route, okay, this network is connected, this one is a static, and this one is also connected. Then here, so
Sir, we haven't configured the 12.0 12.1.1
where,
network.
no need to configure 2L network now, because 2L network is already directly connected with both router, right?
Yes.
So both router have already knowledge about 2L network, right? So control plane host open port, okay, 67 port is enabled over here. Let me do one thing. From the PC1 again I am going to, yeah, you can see this PC have got one IP address, right? Which IP address?
10.1.
1.2. Why not 1? because we have already excluded,
one is already, yes, yes,
excluded, right? So now this PC is able to get IP address from DHCP server, and guys, in the capturing, see, first message, discover message, who have sent it? 0.0.0. In the offer message, source IP address is what? Who is sending the offer message? Let me do
DHCP.
one thing. Let me assign IP address from DHCP server on client 2, PC2, config T. By the way, here is also, here also things are same, but I want to show you from the step 1. So let me do one thing on PC number 2, interface F0/0, say no cert and IP address DHCP. It will send the discover message, then
Yes.
offer message, then request message, and then acknowledgement message. Client or server, which device is going to send discover message? Client, client brother, client only. Here is your DHCP discover message. So client is going to send this message, discover message, then server is going to send this message, which message? Offer message. And see, for client, who is server? 10.1.1.1. But guys, in the real, who is server?
Yes, 192.168.10.1.
This is because of IP helper address. Here you have defined the IP helper address, right? So now router 1 is going to communicate with DHCP server by sending unicast packet, right? And router and PC is still communicating how? Broadcast to broadcast. So because of helper address, now you can see in the discover message, sorry, offer message, source is 10.1.1.1, right? Destination is broadcast. In the third message, request message, which client will send, source is again 0.0.0, because till now PC have not assigned IP address to their interface. Destination is still what? Broadcast. Then guys, in the last message, acknowledgement message, which server is going to send acknowledgement, source is again 10.1 and destination is broadcast. So as we discussed yesterday that DHCP works on DORA process, is it clear to everyone? All messages are clear. All messages are
Yes. Yes.
broadcast, right? In Cisco IS, all messages are broadcast. If you will capture the link between router 1 and router 2, then guys, in the discover message, source is not going to be what? 0.0.0. Then source is going to be what? 10.1.1.1 IP address of helper, sorry, IP address of LAN interface, where you have defined the helper address, this one,
Yes.
right? So R1 will convert 0.0.0 into 1.1.1. So to prove this, what I can do, I can capture this link also, and after capturing this link, I'm going to request for IP address from client 3, from PC3. Yeah, just wait.
Sir, in PC, like router commands it's taking.
No, no, these are routers only, right? Just I have changed the symbol, I have disabled the routing, that's it. These are routers only, right? I'm using it as a PC. So from PC3, let me say interface F0/0 no cert, and then IP address DHCP. This PC will send what? Discover message. Server will send what? Offer message. Then client will send request message, and then server will send acknowledgement message, right? So see the discover message. In the discover, guys, source is what? 10.1.1.1. Source is 10.1.1.1. Between client and router means your helper. Source will be 0.0.0, but from the helper to DHCP, source will be the IP address of helper interface, right? Destination IP is IP address of DHCP server. So this is unicast packet, right? This is unicast. And this is how router is making it possible, because router cannot forward the broadcast message, right? So right now router is helping to provide IP address to the client machine from DHCP server, yes or no?
Yes.
So it is sending their own IP address as the source, as the client machine. Then in the offer message you can see DHCP server is replying to whom? To router only, right? Then router is sending what? Request message. Then DHCP server is sending what? Reply message. So between your helper and DHCP server, all communications are unicast. For packets, unicast. Between client and router, all messages are broadcast, right? So here guys, you can see this is capturing between client and router. Discover message broadcast, offer message broadcast, request message broadcast, and reply message broadcast. If you will check, no, only on router number 1. Yeah, and this is capturing between router 1 and router 2. See, all packets are unicast. Discover. Other router means on R2. Tell me brother, what helper address is doing? First of all, helper address is actually doing what? As PCs are generating broadcast message, it will forward to their default gateway means to router number 1. And these PC don't have any IP address till now, so it will use source 0.0.0. But router don't have capability to forward broadcast message from one interface to other interface. So as it is a broadcast message, router should forward one copy from this interface also, but router cannot perform the broadcast. So I have to tell to router number 1 that brother, whenever you will receive a discover message which is broadcast, and I know you cannot forward it from 0/1 interface, so let me take the IP, let me give you the IP address of DHCP server, and please send the unicast message to DHCP server whenever you will receive the discover message. What I am saying, with the help of helper address, I have told to router number 1, please take the IP address of DHCP server whenever you will get a discover message which is broadcast and you cannot forward it, then please convert it into unicast and then forward it to DHCP server. So is there any client on router number 1 who is going to ask for IP address guys to DHCP server? No. So I don't need to configure IP helper address over here. Let's say there is one switch and here we have lots of users. These users also need what? IP address from the DHCP server. So again, to this interface you have to configure what? IP helper address. But for now, as there is no any client on router number 2 who is going to ask for IP address, I don't need to configure helper on router number 2. Yes or no? Clear? Yeah, 1 minute.
Now suppose this is only we are talking about the LAN connectivity. If we are connecting these two routers over the LAN, it's going to be the same.
Any question guys till here? Anybody? Yeah.
These connected now. This we are communicating in a LAN environment. Like two routers are connected over the LAN. Suppose if we are connectivity over the WAN, it's going to be the
Just I am telling you again and again, assume there is ISP between router 1 and router 2. There is ISP, and definitely there is ISP. There is not only ISP, there is MPLS also, right? We are going to discuss multiple transport. But for now, what I am saying, just assume that both routers are connected with each other through ISP and there is IP reachability. There is IP reachability. That's it. We are going to understand these all. At the end here also, your task is what you need to make reachability between this interface IP address and this interface IP address. So first we will see the underlay configuration, and then we will see the overlay configuration over here, right? And then how we can create a tunnel over here, and we can make communication possible between two private network together through public network. Everything we will discuss, don't worry, right? And again, there are only two sites now, but in your lab, in your upcoming lab, there will be multiple sites, like 3 sites are there, 4 sites are there, and how all branches are connected together through DMVPN. So DMVPN is still in your syllabus, na brother? We'll discuss that. Yeah. Any other question? So I'm expecting, guys, DHCP is clear to everyone. That how DHCP work, what is DHCP, why we need DHCP, and how to configure it on server and on Cisco IS. If this all points is clear to you, please let me know so that I can move to next protocol.
Go ahead.
What about others? Okay. Kapil. Kapil, are you there? Okay.
Now this helper command is only for DHCP. Now what about the DNS server?
Not
Is
for
it any different?
for DNS server, we don't need helper, na brother, because you will define the DNS server IP address on client machine. You are going to tell to machine one, your DHCP, sorry, DNS server IP address is 8.8.8. Then why machine will send broadcast message for 8.8.8? Machine have already knowledge now the IP address of DNS. This time machine don't know what is the IP address of DHCP server.
What about the machine name? Now I want to discover. Suppose we have one client at SW2, switch 2,
Okay.
one PC, and I want to know the name of the PC.
Hmm.
By DNS, we have to get the name of the PC, right? Machine name.
Not machine name. That is, brother, website name. You can say domain name.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Device name is different thing. Device name is just name of the physical device.
Yeah. If
Let's
I
say there is one PC. On the PC, if you have created, hosted one application, so definitely there will be one domain name, right? Let's say domain name is pmnet.com, and there is one DNS server who have already knowledge that what is the IP address of pmnetworking.in, right? So let's say DNS server IP address is 8.8.8.8. This pmnet.com IP address is, let's say, what, 50.1.1.1. So to your machine, first of all, you have to tell what your IP address, the IP source IP address of PC. Then we have to define the default gateway. Then we have to define the DNS server IP address, that is 8.8.8. And after that, if you are going to browse pmnet.com in the browser, this PC will send request to DNS server. Please give me the IP address of pmnet.com. DNS server is going to give the IP address to client machine, correct? And these all both messages are unicast. So here we don't need helper. Once this machine will get IP address of pmnet.com, it is going to send the actual HTTP request to pmnet.com, like this.
now the DHCP communication is secure communication, or how is it between the two routers? Like helper command, is it
See,
going to encrypt that?
in the security, when we will start layer 2 security, we will see how to secure the DHCP, right? Let's assume, brother, if a attacker will come and if they will attach their server here, right here. Now they have also configured the DHCP services, but here they have defined the wrong IP address. Let's say IP address is what, 60.1.1.1, and then default gateway is, let's say, 60.1.1.100. Then DNS server IP address they have defined is, let's say, 1.1.1, and they have defined what, nothing. Let's say this information, right, to the client machine. Now your client machine will not get the genuine IP address from the genuine server. This is attacker. This is attacker. So your client machine is going to assign these addresses on their interface. Now if attacker is going to ping google.com, let's say, all traffic will go via default gateway. Default gateway is what, 100.100, right? Means traffic will go via dot 100. Means let's say there is one device whose IP address is dot 100, and they have captured this link. So now they can read your all data, right?
correct, yeah.
And let's say on this there is one server, right? Attacker have put it one server there, and whenever someone will send request to this server is going to send virus to them, so they can interrupt your network, right?
Yeah.
So how to protect these kind of scenario? So that is comes under what layer 2 security means, how to secure the DHCP server. And there are many more possibilities, guys, right, that you need to secure. This is just an example. We will discuss it in layer 2 security in the switching module.
Okay.
Okay, so for now I'm expecting that DHCP is clear to you all. Now I need to configure the telnet on R1 and R2, and see on the PC, like as PCs must client machines have IP address, so control plane host open port, it's showing only port number 23. Now this is problem of simulation software. On the real devices you will see there will be two port number on, one is what 623 and another one is what port number DHCP client is using. Client is using 68. So 68 port number is also enabled over here, as this machine have IP address, so IP interface brief from the DHCP server. So this client machine is acting as DHCP client, right? So a machine which acts as a client DHCP client machine will enable with what port number 68. So I can run command here. Let me try here if it's showing. So control plane host open. So here also it's not showing. This is error of simulation software. Sometimes you need to ignore these kind of errors. Now telnet. So see, telnet is by default enabled on R1 as well as on R2, right? You don't need to enable it. Host control open port, right? So 23 here, see on R1 it's showing 68 also, sorry 67 also, 67 and 23. Now this machine is acting as DHCP client, sorry I'm saying client again and again, DHCP, yeah, DHCP client. PC1 PC2,
DHCP client only.
yeah, here we have defined the DHCP helper address. So telnet service is by default enable, but this is TCP based. So whenever a machine is going to send a telnet message to router, first it have to establish a logical connection. How it is going to establish a logical connection? With the help of three-way handshake. In the three-way handshake, how many messages we have? Three. First message is, second one is syn plus ACK, and third one is ACK. Got it? So telnet is enabled. Let me try to access R1 from PC1. Let me take you to PC1, and from PC1, guys, I'm going to run one command. First of all, let me disable the routing, no IP routing here, and leave this command for now. This is not for you. Then telnet and the IP address of router 1. See, I can telnet R1 means I can access R1 remotely through any IP address. Requirement is only what? There should be IP reachability. If I am able to ping this router, this IP address 10.1.1.1, that means I can telnet this router through this IP address also. If I am able to ping 12.1.1.1, that means I can telnet this router with this IP address also. Okay, so you tell me through which IP address you want to telnet. 10.1.1.1. See guys, I have access or not? No. Why? What is the problem? Trying. This machine have tried, right? Port number is also opened, but password is required, but none set.
Not set.
To access a router remotely or a switch remotely, you have to configure the password, right? Otherwise, just imagine if anyone knows the IP address of your router, right? They can access it. So you have to configure one password on this router. So let me do one thing. Let me configure one password here. Enable password. This is one kind of password. We will discuss it. Let's say enable password is Cisco 123 on the router. So run. In the running configuration, you can check also that I have what command I have run. So I have run this command, enable password Cisco 123. Now I have configured the password. Again I am going to try to telnet from PC1. Telnet, this one. Again what it's saying, none password set. So actually it is not talking about the any password. It is talking about a particular password. Yes or no?
Password required.
Password required but not set. But on R1 I have set one password, that is enable password. You can see this command.
That is the enable password. We
Right.
have to give the password of telnet password.
Telnet password. How to configure telnet password? There is no any command to configure telnet password. So see guys, to access this router physically, what you need? A physical cable and physical port on the router.
First of all, we have to connect this router with console.
Correct. Right. So console port should be there on the router. Yes or no? In the same way, if you want to enable a device virtually, there should be one interface. There should be one interface. Through that interface only you can access the router, right? And for remote access, that interface is called line VTY. Through this interface I am going to access this router remotely. So it is telling to configure one password on line VTY interface. Getting my point? By default you can see on router number 1, if you will check the line VTY configuration, so run and let me say section line VTY. See the configuration, only these configuration are there, line VTY 04 and login. And again what is this 04? This is just a digit which saying what? At a time 5 user can access this router. 0 1 2 3 4 5, sorry 4. These user can access this router remotely. Now if you want to configure the router in such a way so that only one guys can access your router, then you will configure which line interface? Line VTY 0 only, right?
In this situation, only one user can access.
Yeah, in this scenario only one user can access R1 through telnet. But in this scenario, which is by default, yeah,
We can set up 4 different passwords for all line UPI.
you can configure different one. You can, it depends on you. If you want to configure the same one, you can configure it.
So, is there meaning of the line in VTY?
Line VTY.
Yes. Is there any meaning? VTY. What is the meaning of VTY? Why we
Uh,
use here VTY?
this is just a virtual interface. Through this we are going to access the devices. If you want to know more about the line VTY, simply after the class you can google it, right? What is the meaning of VTY here, right? And line should be clear to you. Line means what? One kind of interface, right? So virtual interface. So this is a virtual interface and this number is showing what, how many user can access this device remotely, or how many user can access this line. Yeah,
How can we define password for each line? For example, 0, 1, 2, I want to define different passwords.
same command you need to run on the different line. I'm going to show you how to configure the password, brother, soon. Without password we cannot access this router, no? So first I have to define the password. So is it clear guys where I am going to configure password for telnet? On line VTY interface, right? So on R1 simply I will run one command, config t configure terminal and then line VTY, then number. So see the range, right? From this range we can say 0 to 4.
902.
Now how many user can access it?
5.
5.
Can we put the line VTY 0 to 903?
03
903.
903. What is this?
No. Line VTY 0 space 903.
903.
Can we
What is
use
this?
this type of command?
Yeah, this is range. From
This
this
is
range,
range.
yeah, you can.
It means 904 users can access the router
Yes,
in this condition. No?
correct. Okay, can I exit it from here? Now, see,
Generally, some people line UTY 0 space 15.
yeah, on real devices you will get 15 option only. This is again virtual, but whatever range you will get here, you can configure it. Okay, and that number again depends on what, guys? Operating system, definitely, right? In Cisco operating system, it can be different. In Juniper, it can be different. In Huawei, it can be different, right? So number is not important. Logic should be important. Like what is 0 to 4? Okay. So is it clear? Guys, have I configured any password online V2I interface? Not yet. Now see, I'm going to run one another command here, that is no login. No line VTY 0 to 4 and say no login. I've run this command. Again, I'm going to access R1 from PC1. So let me run same command again, telnet, and you can see this time I have access, right? I have access of R1. You can see earlier. Now I can configure on, right, without password. This is why. This is because of, guys, see, if I will run again login command, right? So see, login is enabled on all line interface, right? 0 to 4. Now, so run section line VTY. This is default configuration. This is default configuration. I need to remove this one because I have added it. Say no, like this. And this is default configuration of line VTY. Where it is here. Okay. So what is saying, whoever is going to log into the device, please ask for password or username, right? So login means whenever someone is logging is something related to authentication, means authenticate the user. Guys, let's say on my website there one login page. So after the login page, if you log in on the website, then you will get some different content, and before login you will get very less content on my website. So this login is doing what? This login is just authenticating you that you are the genuine person or not. If you are the genuine person, that means you have username and password. You can log in it, right? Yes or no?
So we need to.
So whenever we need to authenticate the user, no, we will always put the login, that whenever someone will try to access the device, please authenticate the user so that no one can access. So by default, that's why login is running and password is not configured, so that you can configure password as you wish. But you can remove this command, but in real time you will never remove. Like I run what? No login. So if there is no login, then devices are not going to authenticate the user. Yeah,
User can access directly
directly, without authenticating,
without authentication, without password.
without password. Correct. Right. So there is option, if you want to, not authenticate the user, you can run command no login, but this is not recommendation. Clear? And login means something related to authentication. Okay, we are going to use login, local login again, and there is one term local login as well. Local login. So see the difference between login and local login. Login means only ask for what? Password. Only ask for passwords. Whenever someone will try to access you, ask for password. And if you will define the local login, means please ask for username as well as password, right? So if you want to authenticate the user through password only, you can use login feature. If you want to authenticate the user with username and password, you can use this feature. Login local or local login, something like that. We will see here. Okay. So now on line VTY interface, I'm going to configure one password. Line VTY 0 to 4. And let me say what password is Cisco 123. Correct? Correct? Now from PC1 again I am going to access router 1 through telnet. This time login is enabled. See, if I will remove the password, no, and then if I will try to access telnet 10.1.1.2, what is saying password is required but non set. Now on router number 1 I am going to enable this password. Password is now Cisco 123. If you will verify, now line V2I interface configuration, so run section line VTY. So you can see this is the configuration, guys. Now this is default. Just I have added this command, password Cisco 123. From PC now I am going to access again. So see, this time what is asking for password. So password is Cisco 123. That's it. I have access, right? Now let me exit it from here. And this time on router number 1 I'm going to remove the login command. I am going to say what? Login local, right? I've removed the login command. Now if you want to check the configuration, you can see this is the configuration now. Line VTY04, there is password and login local. This time if I will try to access R1 from this PC, it's asking what? Username. But we don't have username.
Yes.
So I have to configure the username on router and I have to share that username to my employee. So let me do one thing. On router number 1, I'm going to create one user. Let's say username is, what's your name, brother?
Sachin.
Sachin. And then password. Let's say what?
1 2 3.
Sachin123, like this. I've configured the user. Now you are allowed to access R1, right? So go to PC1. Let's say this is your PC. Login invalid. Let's say this is your PC. From this PC you are going to access R1 to modify the configuration. You will run telnet 10.1.1. It will ask you for username. Your username is what? Sachin. And your password is what? Sachin123. Now you have access. Clear? Is telnet clear, guys? Now let me show you the packets. So where the capturing between
So somewhere,
yeah,
once we access the router also, first of all, when we access or telnet or SSH, at that time we show the only login. So we have to put their
login
username
local.
like
If there is user on the router, right, and you know in real time we will not do like this. In real time what scenario will be there? I will have one separate server for authenticating the user. Like in real time in my branches there are multiple user, right, around the world. There's some branch in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Canada, Australia, right, and those all user are sometimes from there, from the all branches network engineers are accessing the router, and I need to authenticate them all, right? So creating lots of entry on router, right, can we increase the CPU utilization of your device, or this device cannot support it, because this is router, right? The main function of router is doing routing. You can create some username and password, no problem at all, but you cannot use a router, to authenticate the users. To authenticate the user, we will never use router in the real time. We will use a separate server because we need to create lots of entry. Getting my point? So let's say there is one server. That server is called ACS server, access control server. Access control server. See, with the help of name also, it is very clear. It is going to control access, right? This is that server. And now I am going to tell to router number 1, brother, whenever someone will send you request, right, please authenticate that user to ACS server. First send the request to ACS server. Please ask him that username and password is correct or not. So router is going to ask for username and password to PC number 1. Then router will forward it to ACS server. Now ACS server is going to tell to router number 1 that this user is authorized or not. If this is authorized, then router 1 is going to give access. If this user is not authorized, then router is going to deny it. Right? So don't worry. In upcoming days, we are going to understand these all scenario.
okay, means in this condition, which condition you explain us? In this condition, first of all, router will ask us login and then
No,
we put
if you have only login the line VTY interface. If you have only login the line VTY interface, then it will ask for password only. If you have login local to the line interface,
just username and password.
correct.
But sometimes three things happen. First of all, we need to put the login. Then when we put the login ID, then
Oh,
it asks
that is
username and password.
that is secondary thing. Whether again, don't worry about that. See, I have my rack in my room, right? Rack, and I am accessing this rack remotely. In upcoming day, I will turn on my rack, and you will see my rack is connected with my network, right? In the same network, through my home router, rack is connected, so I can access my routers and switches remotely from this machine, right? Simply I will open the putty and I will telnet those devices. So you will see, first of all, to access the router, I will access the server where all routers are connected together. Through that server I am going to access the router. So to server is going to ask me what? First, server is going to authenticate me that I am genuine user or not, right? Then when I will access the router, then router is again going to authenticate me. But only this is the process. Router is going to either ask for password or username and password. That's it. Clear?
Okay, clear.
Any other question, guys? No. Then see the capturing. This is capturing between PCs and router, right? From from the client machine 2 means PC2, I am going to telnet R1 and we will see the packet, all packet. So see, I am on client machine 2, and on this machine I am going to run command telnet 10.1.1.1, right? See, first it have sent which packet, guys? R packet, R request. Then first of all, machine will resolve MAC address. Here I have defined what? Only destination IP now, so it will generate the ARP request message. It will resolve the MAC address of this IP address. After that, it will send first SYN message. Why SYN message? Because it is going to forward telnet traffic, and telnet is a TCP based protocol. So first of all, it have to establish a connection. So this is three-way handshake, right? We have three messages: SYN plus ACK message, and then ACK message. And after that, guys, we have what? Actual telnet data. Clear? Again, source port is random port number, destination port is well-known port number of telnet 23, source IP is this one, destination IP is this one. Like, I'm not going to discuss these all, right? Because you already know now these things. You can read it. You can open the TCP header and then also you can read it, right? You can open the IP header, then you can read it. Like, this is SYN plus ACK message. So how we can verify it? This is SYN ACK. We can check the flag fields. In the flag, you can see acknowledgement bit is on and SYN bit is also on. That means it is what? SYN plus ACK message. So as I told you, SYN is nothing but a TCP header with SYN bits on. SYN plus ACK is nothing but a TCP header with SYN bits on, right? So you can open the actual telnet message as well. Here also you can read, you can check the IP header. In the IP header, source IP is the IP address of client machine, destination IP address is IP address of router R1, right? And what is the protocol number, guys? Why? Because upper layer protocol is TCP. Are boss, protocol field is going to identify what? Upper layer protocol means at transport layer. Which protocols is working, TCP or UDP? Please revise, right? Okay, so like this you can read the IP header and you can close it. Then you can read what? TCP header. This is what TCP header: source port random, destination port well known, right? Sequence number, these things, and bits. Then these are telnet messages. Now the next protocol is SSH. Guys, to configure the router, see, by default SSH is disabled, only telnet is enabled on router. Only telnet is enabled on router. By default SSH is disabled. And to configure any protocol on router, you should write down the commands in notepad. Like, I need to configure the SSH. So at the initial time you don't know what is the command to configure SSH, but you have this file. You have this file, and in this file you can check what is the command to configure SSH. Here it is, right? So what you can do, see, this command you need to run on router, and this command you need to run on PC. So I don't need to run commands on all routers manually one by one. I can write on the command in notepad. Like, first command that I need to run is what? IP domain name. Why IP domain name? So you will understand this also, guys, in upcoming days. The reason behind it is, let me tell you some point at least about it. Domain name. SSH is secure protocol and Telnet is unsecure protocol, right? So nowadays in real time we are using SSH only, not we are using Telnet. But if there is no concern of security, then you can use Telnet as well, right? But if you have concern with security, then you should use SSH, because Telnet configuration is easy as compared to SSH, right? So definitely if security is not required, then I will use Telnet only. And as SSH is secure, how it is secure? It is going to use a certificate. Don't worry about the certificate for now. And to generate that certificate, router need what? A key. And to generate that key, router need what? Domain name and host name, because key is combination of domain name and host name. So that's why, as SSH protocol is secure, it is using a certificate, it need what? A key. And that key can be generated with domain name and host name only, because key is combination of host name and domain name. So this is the reason why you have to run this command, IP domain name. IP domain name. Okay. Then username and password. After that, definitely you need to create username and password here. So let's say my username it was Cisco 123, or let's say only Cisco. Then user is already there on router. Let me create one more user. Username, let's say CCNA1, and password is also CCNA1. Done. Then login local. After that, transport input SSH. See, on the router, if you want to enable telnet, you will run command transport input telnet. If you want to enable SSH, you will run transport input SSH. If you want to run both, you will run both, right? And if you don't want to run any one, you can disable it. So transport input command is going to help you to change the protocol. Transport input SSH. It will enable SSH, right? So this command is used to enable SSH. If you want to enable the telnet, what command you can run here? Telnet. Like, guys, on router, let me try one thing new here. On router, on R1, so run section line VTY. So this is configuration. Config T, and here you can see port number 23 is opened. So control plane host open port. So telnet is enabled or disabled here? Enable. If you want to disable it, what you can do? Go to line VTY 04, and by default what command is running? Transport input telnet. By default this command is running, brother. So simply you can say no to this command. So no command is not accepted here. Let me do one thing. Then there will be option. Just wait. Transport input. None is there. None. And now so control plane host. After some time you will see this entry will gone from here, removed from here. Telnet will disabled. Right. So like this we can disable it also. So my next command is transport input SSH, and then you have to run one more command here. See guys, crypto key generate RSA, and don't worry about this command also. We can define the enable password. Enable password. Let's say again Cisco 123 is the enable password, and then crypto key generate. Without crypto key, this router cannot enable SSH on the router RSA. Let me copy this all command and I'm going to paste it on.
Transport input spelling mistake.
Where brother?
Transport input. Transport input.
Transport input. Input. Here we are going to say what? SSH. And to access the router, you will run command SSH minus L. Then the domain name. Domain name is what? Cisco. And then the IP address of the router 10.1.1.1. That's it. So if I want to enable SSH on router number 1, I can paste these all command. I can paste these all command in global config mode. Done. See, there is one. Okay, this command will run under line VTY04. So I think, forget to mention 04, line VTY04 here. Line VTY024. Now I am going to copy it. Copy, and then let me do one thing. Let me paste it. Done. So control plane host open port 22 is enabled. 22 is enabled or not? What happened guys?
Enable.
SSH. SSH is enabled. Now let me try to access this router from R1 through SSH this time. What command I will run? SSL SSH minus L, then domain name guys. Domain name is what? Cisco 12. No, domain name is only Cisco, and the IP address of router 10.1.1.1. It is asking for username. No. Connection refused by foreign host, means the destination from the 10.1.1. Now I have to check what happened on router number 1. So run. See guys, the entire running configuration of router. Host name is R1, that is fine. Enable password is also configured there. Domain name is configured or not? Yes, domain name is also configured, that is Cisco. And underline VTY user is also there, Sachin123, and one more user is there. Okay. And on fast Ethernet 0/0, this is the IP on fast Ethernet 0/1, this is the IP. Okay. IP, there is one IP route as well. Fine. Yeah, underline VTY04. Transport input SSH is there. Login local is also there. Okay, everything is fine here. Then let me check from the PC again.
Crypto we have, also we haven't.
Crypto key generate RSA. I think it have already generated the RSA. See, when I will run this command, what will happen guys? Please define the
Domain.
that means domain name. Oh sorry, I am running this command on PC1. I should run it on router. Crypto key generate RSA. What is saying? Do you want to? Yeah, you already have. Do you want to reinstall? replace, say yes, say yes. Now it's asking for the size.
Define for each line.
Crypto key is required, to run some of services, some features like HTTPS. If you want to enable HTTPS on router, you have to generate means crypto key should be there on router. Crypto key is required to run that service. In the same way, to run SSH, crypto key is required. And to generate this key, domain name is and host name is required. So that's why I have defined what? Domain name. I have already configured the host name. Host name is already here. That is R1, right? So this router can generate a crypto key, and SSH, HTTPS, these protocols are going to use this key. Fine. So, but what is saying, guys? See, SSH 1.5 has been generating 512 bytes RSA key. So now it have generated one key whose size is what? And do you know why these routers are generating this key? Because as I'm telling you again and again that SSH is secure. Then how SSH is secure? Question is how? With the help of encryption. Now router have generated one key, guys. At that key is, you can see size of that key is 512 KB, right? So very big key. And now router is going to use that key to encrypt the data. To encrypt the data. So you can imagine now how security is there on link right now after configuring SSH. My data is not secure on the link. If you will open data, telnet data in the capturing, let me show you if there is some telnet data. Yes, there is some telnet data. So if you will open it, it is like readable. Everything is readable here, right? Everything is readable here. We can read it, right? So this is in plain text. But when SSH is going to send the data, you will see it is going to forward it in encrypted format. I have to capture the link again. Yeah. So again, let me take you here. Now crypto is ready. Now again, let me take you to PC1 and let me try to SSH it. PC1. Still there is some problem. Crypto key generate RSA. Yes. Okay, that is live for default. IP domain name. Cisco. If you have multiple domain name like domain name 123, now you can create one more crypto key, RSA key, right? So let me say Cisco only, and then again let me run this command one more time here. Say yes, I want to replace it. Yeah, size is perfect. And line VTY 0, here we can check the configuration directly. Do so, run section line VTY. So line VTY 04, password is Cisco123, login local, transport input, SSH. So everything looks fine. SSH one cell Cisco 10.1.1. I've disabled the telnet, right? What is the problem here? Am I missing any command here? No. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me configure on the R2. IP domain name is, let's say what, CCNA. Then username is CCNA1 and password is also what, CCNA1. Crypto key generate crypto Key is available, yes, then why it's not taking? Key, oh, now it's taking. Generate. Yeah, these are not for you now. Signature, encryption, okay. Line VTY. Line VTY 0 to 4. Say login, local, and then password. Cisco 123. And okay, transport input SSH, let me say. Done. Now from PC1 I am going to SSH R2, SSH minus L, and domain name is what, guys, on router 2?
CCNA.
CCNA1 or only CCNA?
Domain name CCNA.
CCNA.
Only CCNA. Username is CCNA1.
So run section username. Username is CCNA1, password is also CCNA1, and domain name is CCNA. Okay, so let me say CCNA, and IP address of router 2, 12.1.1.2. Again it's saying connection refused. Wait a second. Configure SSH on Cisco router. It can be because of simulation as well, don't worry, but let me verify the commands if there is any other commands. Transport input telnet, that is fine. IP domain name this one. Let me try, it is because of domain name. IP domain name cisco.com. Crypto key generate RSA. Okay, that is fine. I have run this command. These are the only commands. IP SSH, this is not for you. Domain name is fine. Crypto key generate RSA is also fine, and username is also fine. Key string is also not for you now. Not required. No, now ping should work. If it is not working, then this is definitely problem of simulation. What I can do, I can access to my real device here. So let me verify the configuration once again. So control, yeah, plane, open host, open port. Yeah, 22 port number is also enabled over here. That means it is receiving the traffic. Let me check once capturing. What is happening under capturing? And to troubleshoot it, what you can do, brother, one more thing you can do. Whatever things we have discussed till now, to troubleshoot it, what you can do, you can check the TCP connection. The connection is there or not between router 1 and router 2, right? That means both are able to
Yes.
establish a logical connection or not. To troubleshoot it, you should run this command here. On PC, you can run this command. What command? So TCP brief. Is there any entry?
No.
No. On router number 1 also we can run so TCP brief. Is there any entry? No. That means both PC are not able to establish a connection, but port number is enabled. Then what can be the reason? So why my voice arc is not working? Okay, let me debug IP SSH and then send protocol version SSID 1 Cisco 1.5 version this one. Okay, error. So there is some error. Session disconnected.
Session disconnected.
Session disconnected. Now what can be the reason if port number is enabled over here? So control plane. So control plane host open port. Port number is enabled. If port number will be not enabled, then router 1 will send reset message in the response of SYN message. In the response of it will send what reset message. But I want to show you the capturing also here. It will be very useful. Wasak. Just a minute. I want to show you some packet here. Sometime in real time while configuring OSPF, BGP, at multiple time you will see this kind of scenario. Like everything we have configured correctly, but maybe we are missing some command or something is missing there. So this one, not this one. Oh, there is one option now to start Waisak. Okay. Okay, capturing is there. From PC number 1, let me send the SSH request. See guys, first message is SYN message is successful. ACK message is also successful. In the SYN message, source IP is
So source IP is 1.2.
10.2. This is capturing between switch 1 and R1. Okay, PC1 IP address is 10.2 now.
Yes.
Okay, so IP is correct, right? SYN ACK message is also fine, and ACK message also fine, right? So both PCs are able to exchange the
Information.
information. Then there should be entry in the table. So
Can you ping?
yeah, ping is also working now. Ping should be the first step, right? Ping 10.1.1.1. So yes, I am able to ping,
Yes.
right? So on router number 1, so TCP brief. Why it's not showing any entry?
Sir, I think in router 1 there will.
Yeah, see there is entry on R1. But what is happening? Both routers are terminating the connection. It is establishing the connection and terminating the connections. After some time, it is going to remove it. See there. Time wait.
Yes, we have removed the root from R2, but
No, no.
it need to access from R1.
No, from R1 also it's accessible. Actually, you know what we are doing? We have enabled the SSH on router number 1, but SSH is not working. So we are troubleshooting it. First I have pinged the router, ping is working fine, right? Then I have checked the TCP table on router number 1. So earlier there was no any entry, but for some time there was entry, and let me check now. Now still there is entry. And on PC number 1, so TCP brief. Here we don't have any entry. It have removed immediately. So what can be the problem here? So that's we are talking and trying to find it. See, SYN message is completed. After that 10.1 means router 1 have sent one SSH message, right? Then client machine have sent the another message. Client message. This is server message. This is client message in SSH. And then again it have sent what? FIN message. So problem is fine. Who is sending FIN message? Router. Router is terminating the session. Clear? Till here guys everything is clear. How I am troubleshooting the network. You can see router 1 is sending what? FIN message. FIN message is used to terminate the session. Remember OSI model, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why router is sending FIN message to client machine? So definitely there is some misconfiguration in SSH. Router is sending FIN message. Router is not allowing R1 to access it through SSH. But it is sending their first message as well. It is sending the first message. You can see first SSH message. First this one. Server have sent it, right? Client have given response. Maybe it have sent something, right, in the response, and after that router is sending FIN message, right? So after checking this message, router is sending FIN message. I'm correct? Line VTY04 transport input all,
All means Telnet,
both,
SSH, all.
both. I'm able to telnet it, right? See, I have access, but not able to take SSH. Key is also fine. This is key. It is combination of
R2.
two things, host name plus, guys, what I told you, to generate a key device need what? Host name plus domain name. This is the reason why we need to define domain name in SSH, because SSH uses RSA cryptography service. So if someone will ask you why we need to run this command IP domain name in SSH, answer should be what? SSH is using cryptography service, and cryptography service need what? A key, RSA key. That key can be generated by host name and domain name. So I think you know why SSH is not working, because there is default host name. So let me do one thing. On router number 1 I'm going to change the host name as well. Let's say host name
Okay.
like this.
Ignore.
Now again I'm going to run this command. So So where's the command? So crypto key, my public key, and then RSA. We can set the name as well. Like if you want to define the name manually, then you can do it. Now let me try one more time from PC. From the client machine, I'm going to say SSH. Sorry, where is client one? Still connection to 10.1.1 closed by foreign host. So let me troubleshoot it now again. So this time key name is this one. Okay, this is the key, and key is fine. So run section line VTY. Please mute. Please mute yourself, brother. See, from the router 2, I am able to access router 1, guys. Right? It's only not working for these PCs. I think you know the reason is what? Reason is, see, see the reason is what? The reason was simple, guys, but this to understand this problem was very important. See the problem on PC. So run is there. What happened here? It's taking much time. No, no, there is IP. That's why you are able to ping, no, brother.
Yes, yes.
Still, it's not working. Okay, leave it. This is problem of PC. From this PC, actually, we are not able to access it. Let me do one thing. Let me run IP. No IP route command. No IP routing. And let me say IP routing. Now it need one root. Now root is not available. So say, okay, root is already available. It is in same network. Then also this PC is not able to SSH it. Okay, so I think on these devices is some problem, misconfiguration or something like that. So IP route. So this is just because of simulation software only, right? From the PC why you are not able to SSH R1, and same thing you are able to do from the other router. Let me try it from DHCP server. From the DHCP server, SSH minus L. Domain name is Cisco on R1 and IP address is 10.1.1.1. See, from this device also I am not able to access it. So just because of Cisco is also one domain. There are two domain, Cisco and Cisco.com. No. But same thing if you will do from router number 2. See, from router number 2 I'm going to SSH minus L and then Cisco domain name and the IP address, let's say 10.1.1.1, or I can say 12.1.1.1. See, it's asking for what? Again, this is problem. It should ask for username and password because we have enabled the login local. So this is, guys, just problem of simulation software only, right? So you can try it in EVNG if you guys have. And yeah, so you can try there. But for now, tell me the password. Password is CCNA1, I think, na? No. Cisco? No. Cisco 123. No. See,
configure this?
it will allow you for how many attempts?
Three attempts.
3 attempts. After that, it is going to terminate the connection. Okay.
Sir, how many times can we access? Suppose we try three times, then it on authenticate us. Then can we try again?
We can configure, these things. We can manipulate these things. These are again part of security. There are lots of options we have here to configure the services. Lots of options are here. Okay, so on router number 1, I can check the password. So run section line VTY. Password is Cisco 123. Saying wrong password. We can access this from any IP address, doesn't matter. That IP address should be reachable only. Cisco 123. It's not working. SSH is not working here properly, on this router in GNS3. We have to perform one a small lab on it in, what we can say, EVNG or on real devices. So maybe today we haven't start IP addressing because topic was lengthy and we discussed lots of things. So no problem, guys. What I will do tomorrow, I will access my real devices or I will design the topology in EVNG and then we will perform one lab of SSH there. Then we will move to IP addressing. Okay.
The
So
EVNG
actually,
is better, and
yeah,
how
it
do you
is.
get that file from it?
For routing, I think GNS3 is best. To run EVNG, first of all, you need lots of time. It will take 10 minutes to, up, correct? First, you have to turn on the virtual machine. Then you have to log in it in the browser. Then you are going to design the topology and then you will configure it. But in GNS3, the GNS3 is much faster than EVNG. So for the routing, we are going to use GNS3 only, routing purpose, right? But sometime when we will see this kind of problem, right, we will discuss the troubleshooting part, all possibility troubleshooting part in GNS3, and then we will do same lab on EVNG, so that you guys can understand the troubleshooting also. Like today, we discussed some troubleshooting steps, like how we can troubleshoot this kind of problem, right? Like on routers, you can see I have debugged the SSH. So debugging is enabled for SSH, right? So it will generate one log message whenever it will generate the SSH message or it will receive a SSH message. So say debug IP SSH and then client. And from router number 2, I'm going to send this command SSH -L Cisco and IP address 10.1.1.1. Here you can read the log messages, right? How many messages has exchanged between router 1 and router 2? Two messages. One is server message and another message is client message, no brother?
Yes.
Right. So first, see, from R2 I'm going to SSH R1. So first R2 will send this message, right? Then R1 is going to send this message to ask what is the password, tell me the password. So once you will put the password there on router number 2, router 2 is going to share that password to router number 1. And after that, if password will match, then it will give you the access. Session disconnected. And there's timer as well, right? it will wait for a particular time. We can change that timer also, right? After that time it will automatically disconnect it. Let's say if you want to configure your router in such a way so that whenever someone will log in it, and if they are idle for 5 seconds, let's say, means they are not running any command for 20 seconds. So what do you want? Router should terminate the session whenever session is idle for 20 seconds. You can configure it. We can configure a router to ask for username and password also, right? And we have many more options, guys, here. Got it? Right, so go to line VTY interface once more time, line VTY, let's say 04, and then put the question mark here. Okay, leave this question mark. As I told you, if you have server, right, for the authentication, so you can tell to this router that server IP address is this one, and you need to authenticate the user from this server only. Just a minute, let me find some useful commands for you. Like you can see absolute time. What option you have here? Absolute timeout. You can configure it, right? So what it is? Set absolute timeout for line disconnection. So if absolute timeout is 5 seconds, that means what? That means what, guys? Now it is your task. Please find the answer of this question. What is absolute timeout in line VTY? Okay. And one more task I'm going to give you, that is exact timeout. Exact timeout. Set the exact timeout, right? So just I'm going to tell you the configuration and you need to find the answer, right? Like what is absolute timeout and what is exact timeout tomorrow,
in SSH.
right? Not in SSH, this is line VTY, brother. Line VTY interface. This is feature of line VTY, right? So here I can say absolute timeout, let's say what, 10 second. Then we can say what exact timeout, let's say what, 20 second. Like this we can configure it. So this is all about, guys, Telnet and SSH protocol, right? We have a still one lab on SSH protocol, but Telnet is covered and all theory parts is covered. And hope you guys have understanding on these two protocols like Telnet and SSH. And let me remind you whatever protocols I have discussed till now. First, HTTP, guys,
Yes.
HTTPS, FTP,
Yes.
TFTP,
Yes.
DHCP,
DHCP.
DNS,
DNS.
NTP,
Yes.
network time protocol,
Yes.
TCP,
Yes.
UDP,
Yes.
IP,
Yes.
ARP,
Yes.
right? So these are important protocol. Okay, for till now. In upcoming days, we are going to learn many more important protocols.
Sir,
Yes.
we haven't discussed on SNTP.
Yeah, I know. I know, don't worry. We will discuss now, brother.
Okay. Okay. I think that we discuss on NTP.
SNMP is, my favorite topic. I keep this topic aside because this is very interesting, right? And I love to teach. So at the time of configuration, at the time of switching module, I will discuss those things. We'll discuss NTP also in detail, or if I will not discuss, any protocols like NTP, SNMP, these protocols, then definitely I am going to provide you the best recording. I will share the link, that is private video, and by watching that video, let's say that video length is 20 minutes. So by watching 20 minutes video, you can learn SNMP, complete SNMP, theory plus practical. So whenever I will miss any protocol, don't worry. after the class you can tell me, and then I will share the link of my private video to you. Now any question,
Thank you.
guys? Yes, yes, yes.
Sir,